Okay, we're going to be working on the 5440 flight block. I've cut out the strips. I've got a strip here. I had the size wrong on the pattern. The strip that I cut to trace my template on is 5 inches. And the strip that I used to put the side pieces on is cut at 6 inches. I went ahead and cut it at 6. You might could get by with 5.5, but 6 will make sure you've got plenty of room up here for the tips on here. So I made my templates out of plastic. I traced it on there. You write all the information on there so that you will have that. I've got the one, and I also marked which side was reverse so that I would always remember that. And then I traced off on the background. I traced off my pieces here. I just went ahead and used a friction pen. You can use a pencil, and then you're going to cut that out. I had a small hole punch, so I was able to go and poke the holes in where that's at. You can use, if you're able to do that, then you can just use your pencil to mark that spot so that you'll know where it is. I did that on all 3 corners on the triangle because that's going to help you when you go to put it together. I'll show you another way you can do that without having that hole punch, but I'll show you an easy way that I also mark my pieces. So on this other piece, you have to make it in reverse. You need 4 of each piece. So you need 4 reverse and 4 on the other direction, and you need 4 of this. I've got my fabric doubled, right sides together so that I can mark on the back. This piece is going to be it's going to be the same. It's not going to have a reverse piece to it, so it's going to be the same. The one here that's going to be the points on the star, it does matter. It has a reverse. So I traced everything on the one direction. I went ahead for my piece and I flipped it and just did the other. I do have directional fabric, but I think that whenever it goes in on the sides or the points up at the top and the bottom, I can kind of flip it and fix that. So I'm not too worried about that, but it's not going to bother me if it's off a bit. If yours is directional and it's going to bother you, open this piece out and with the wrong side facing up, trace 4 of them going the right way and 4 of them going reverse so that you'll be able to have everything going right. But with it doubled, the right sides together, it's automatically going to be making a reverse piece every single time you cut it. So I'll be able to separate those out into my 2 stacks for my points. I cut this, like I said, it was at 6 inches. And then I've got my background and a medium, and those strips are cut at 2.5 inches. And that's going to be used to make 4 patches. So I'm going to seam these 2 together. I'm going to cut 10 segments at 2.5 inches off of that, and then put those together in a 4 patch. I've got all my pieces cut out for my 4 patch. There's 10 segments at 2.5 inches. And I just want to remind you that when you go to put these in to start sewing, you're going to match up the seams. Since they were pressed to the dark, it's automatically going to be going opposing. But what you'll need to do over here also is if you'll put the seam going in to where it's facing your sewing machine, it helps to push up against that so that it'll help make sure that that nest and you'll get a good intersection there. So just kind of watch that as you put them in, because you could stitch it the other way on the other side, but that seam's going to be going down if you turned it upside down. So that's one thing that you can watch to help get a nice sharp intersection. Okay, when you piece your 4 patches, one thing that will help it to lie nice and flat is if you come and you pop the seam back here and you make a little 4 patch. You can tell which one it is that you need to pop. When you look at one I haven't done, they're going in that direction. This one is not. You can see they're all kind of spinning in one direction. This one is not. So that is the seam that you will grab, and you're going to pop it open. It'll have just a few stitches there, and you just pop that, and then you're going to repress it, and then you'll have your little 4 patch there. That will make the blocks lie nice and flat, and you won't get a little ridge up there in the center on it. Okay, I'm going to show you how to mark the X's on the back when you don't have a hole punch in order to punch it through your template, and that way you'll have the marking spots that you need to do. I have my piece laid down, and I've laid a ruler on it to mark where the 1/4 inch is, and I just go along the sides where the X is, and I just do each side. So I just mark it, and I'm going to lift this up so you can see I've marked it there, and I just rotate this around and keep doing that. So you'll wind up that you'll get an X in on the spot where you do it. So let me set that down, I'll mark it, and I'll show you the X's. Just keep turning it around as you just do some little tick marks there. And where it intersects, that's going to be the X spot. Whoops. And so where it's at, you can kind of see where some of the X's are showing up here. So it'll just make a little X on there, and that's going to be your matching points. So mark all of your pieces on the back of all of them so that you'll have that. Okay, so I'm going to piece the triangles together. You take the, you're going to use a standing pin method. So I've put a pin in where the X is, and it's standing. You're going to pin at the side of it, and also, well, let me pin this and then I'll show you the other one. But you're going to pin along the side of it, and that will help hold it. Get this here. I use a standing pin method whenever I'm trying to get in an exact spot. After you get your other 2 pins in, then you can take it out. So if you'll notice here, it's got just a little tip of the white showing. You also want to pin at the other end. So I'm going to put the pin in where the X is, the intersection of the X, or the dot if you use dots, and I'm going to poke it through on the background, the big triangle where that X intersects, so that I know that's my match point. Your pin will be standing. Then you're going to pin on both sides to help hold that pin so that you have it pinned exactly where it needs to be. And then you're going to stitch the seam using your 1/4 inch, but that will have that one. If you'll notice on this one, on the back side, there's quite a bit extra showing that's hanging off. You're going to stitch this, pull out your pins when you get to it. Do not cut off the dog ears, because you're going to be using that to help go and match it up to put on your other piece. I used a friction pin to mark some of these, so I am not going to go use the iron, but you're going to you can just finger press it over to the piece that you just added on. So it looks like this now. I've got a triangle up here at the top with my dog ears, and I still have quite a bit hanging off down there at the bottom. Okay, so you've sewn your first side. When you add the second one on, you match the dog ears up here at the top, and you can see where to do that. You can check where it's at by, also checking on the little dots that you marked, and you'll pin it at the top and the bottom. So I've done that, And then I'm going to actually stitch this from the bottom up to the top because there's not any bulk down at the bottom. So I'm going to stitch that from the bottom to the top. And we'll see how this comes out. When you have your dog ears left on there, you can also tell if you get it, because when you come at the end, this should be in your 1/4 inch seam allowance, and you'll know that you hit it because you've got the 1/4 there and it's going to come across like that. So we'll just finger press this out. And you can see it's got a nice top here across the top. It's nice and smooth. So now you can trim the dog ears. You can take those off there and down at the bottom so that they're not in the way for the rest of the construction. Press your seams, like I said, to the small triangles that you added, and then square that up, and then we can lay the final block out. Okay, you're going to want to square up all of your units to 4.5 inches, and when you go do that, I had a little bit that I needed to trim off, but where your point is there, you want that to be 1/4 of an inch away from the edge of your ruler, so you can use that point to help square it up and get all the dog ears trimmed off. So I did have some to trim off on all sides. I've got my block laid out, and just watch your orientation. So you've got a white running, or your background is running through the center, and then it's running on the other color, a contrasting color, the medium, running across the other way. So you lay out your block. You want to match your seams when you're sewing it into the rows. So you're going to be matching the point here to the seam that's there. So those are the seams that you're going to be matching. Always watch for your match points, your seams, your points of triangles, and pin those so that they don't slip and that they'll come out right whenever you do it. Okay, here's the final block. Match all your seams here, there. Watch your points, and you can check where your seam is. Line it up with that point on the sharpness of the point there so that you would have that. And just pin it. I pressed my seams to all the 4 patches. When I was making each row, I pressed to the 4 patch, and then when I sewed the rows together, I pressed them to the center.